You, like golf, are having to expand your tour a bit. 128 players, crowded.
Yes, yeah. I mean, if we look at the expansion of snooker worldwide and look at the numbers that we have on our tour, we have 96 players on our tour currently. And to actually increase the opportunity for players, not just from England but from overseas, we have to make more numbers. And that's really what this is about. So 128 is the next step for us.
It was fascinating to see people from all over the world with great interest in this game coming to take part. And what was the furthest flung places that you had applications from?
Well, I mean, it's absolutely incredible how far players travel. Certainly the Far East is very strong. We've seen young Li Yang last year. He qualified through Q School and in fact made his debut at the UK Championships and now has a place in our top 64 in the world. So it's that kind of opportunity from the other side of the world that we're creating here. What's
your impression of this Q School, Stephen, and the opportunities that young players now have got? Because these were not open to you when you were coming through.
No, absolutely. I mean, I turned professional after winning my national amateur championship, but it's a fantastic opportunity. Obviously, it's difficult for players from other countries to come to a strange country and to play snooker. That's difficult, but the opportunities are phenomenal.
And in terms of the numbers of applications that you've had for the last 2 Q Schools, what were you up to by the end of it?
Well, it's in the hundreds, and you know, anything's possible this year with the growth that we've seen.
And in terms of the country that's producing the most numbers of applications, what would it be?
It's a very good question. I would have to say probably China. India is also very strong, particularly for, you know, the Far Eastern nations. But again, you know, snooker's still very strong in the UK here. Obviously, our viewing figures are very high here on the BBC, and you know, as I say, we expect quite large numbers.
So just when you're thinking about taking a break after the World Championships at the Crucible, you plough on for another month there.
Absolutely. I mean, the World Championship will finish the 13th of May is the start of Q School. There'll be more information available through worldsnooker.com where we'll be taking entries for the events. You know, and Stephen knows what a tough schedule it's been this year. And I know he's been quite vocal at times, and it is a gruelling schedule. So yes, 13th is really the start of the play for the following season.
Okay, well, everybody's girding themselves for that. And if you, of course, want to take part in the Q School, I'm sure you'll be able to do so through the World Snooker website. Look out for all of the opportunities therein, and I think it's going to be a very healthy situation for the Q School going forward. Anyway, that's something special coming your way in May, but something very special coming your way in March. This is it.
2012, the year sport gets serious.
Sport Relief is back, and it's your chance to be part of the UK's biggest year of sport. We want the whole nation to get together, get active and raise a whole load of cash.
You can get behind it, really changing lives at home and across the world's poorest countries by doing the Sport Relief March on Sunday, March the 25th.
And this year, we want 1 million people to take part.
Why can't I be in the front?
It's a horse, not an elephant, Gary. Of course, you can raise money by buying these lovely socks, or one of these Sport Relief t-shirts.
Sorry, is it speeding up?
There is going to be jaw-dropping celebrity challenges leading up to an unmissable, star-studded night of entertainment, kicking off your Sport Relief weekend.
However you decide to do it, go the extra mile for Sport Relief.
Enter the mile now at bbc.co.uk/Sport Relief. I thought that went all right. The Sport Relief Mile. Who'll be your other half?
Good question. Get your socks now and do your bit for Sport Relief. But back to matters in hand, our quarter-final this afternoon here at Alexandra Palace. And let's discuss the fortunes and indeed the fame of a certain well-known Australian a bit more, shall we?
When you see some people walking around the table, you take an instant dislike to them, that sort of look of aloofness and arrogance. It reminds me of
Stephen and Neil.
Well, it's a compliment. Walking around the table.
I think he's definitely got an aura about him when he walks around, and I think I said a couple of times, obviously the last 3 or 4 years, Neil's become quite a prolific winner. You know, the days of people, you know, that was winning 5, 6, 7 tournaments a season have long gone. You know, win 2 or 3 tournaments a season, you've had a fantastic season. So, such an improved player, I think, from sort of 5 or 6 years ago. Now, as I say, he's just a proven winner.
When you're playing him, obviously, you know, the likes of me, not necessarily going to be playing him in the final stages of events like you may be. You know he's not going to crumble.
No, I mean, I've known Neil for quite a few years now. We moved to Leicester maybe 10 or 11 years ago, I think it was. And we lived together for a period of time when Neil was first on the tour. So, I mean, I used to practice with him a lot at Willie Thorne Snooker Club. And back then, he'd probably even say himself, he was obviously a great potter, which he still is today. He used to score well, but I think he used to probably push the boat out a little bit too much. In the first season, he even said that to me, that was probably why he fell off the tour, because he was probably taking on too many shots. But I mean, like Stephen says, the last few years he's proved what a class player he is. I mean, winning the World Championships. I mean, like, you could switch the TV on, and I mean, I could watch him and you wouldn't know whether he was winning or losing. He's got a great temperament, and I think that's huge in snooker.
And I mean, in some respects, dropping off the tour a couple of times, and we know the storyline, you were really on your uppers, and all of a sudden, do you think that helped, or what actually did happen, do you think, that changed your game around?
Yeah, I think in some ways I was very much a late developer. I think one of the problems I had was living in Australia and not playing with a lot of world-class players. Although the standard of amateur snooker in Australia is very high, it's a completely different level to playing with top professional players. And that was something I always lacked, was that I was always flying from Australia over to the UK and to play in tournaments with very little sort of match practice. So it all sort of seemed to change for me when I moved to Cambridge in 2003, when I was practicing with Joe Perry every day and players like Mark King and stuff like that, and learning a lot of really good match snooker, and I just sort of built on that, really.
He fancies the job. I mean, come in interview, like, don't think I've ever played better. It's all positive. You don't hear moaning.
What he's got when I'm playing him, that I'm most jealous about, you think you've played a decent safety, the white's in the bulk area, he's got a long ball, and he pots it and screws the white back all the way to bulk. What a gift to be able to do that. Fantastic.
Not putting words in your mouth, but the correct answer to this is there's no point in improving. I'm perfect as it is. What part of the game would you try and improve?
I think probably my biggest focus this season was to improve my consistency. I think watching somebody like Mark play the last few seasons, Mark's always in the later stages, always in semi-finals and finals. I myself have been a little bit inconsistent, where I'd bob up and win a tournament and then go quiet for a few tournaments. So this season was just to practice really hard and just try to get to the later stages as much as possible.
And I think it's fair to say Neil Robertson has achieved those ambitions, sustained excellence all season long. Now there's Mark Williams. He tweeted in the interval,